part of this is the part that goes over quite well at Esalen. It's the atonement part. This is a painting. It used to be on the 3rd floor of MoMA in New York. It's by Barnett Newman. It's called At One Ment, right? So one ment is not a word, but when you put the word at in front of it, it becomes atonement. But think of one ment, oneness, and what atonement is. And what I'm proposing, my definition, is that it's making yourself whole again, realizing your wholeness. And so the tool to do this is forgiveness, right? To realize your wholeness as a human being, you have to forgive. And then I write about this extensively, really based on Fred Luskin's work, Forgive for Good, Forgive for Love, and releasing the resentments. If I say, oh yeah, my parents got divorced when I was 5, right? What I'm doing is I'm dragging you into my victimhood drama. I'm saying, yeah, I'm fucked up because my parents got divorced when I was 5, right? So we have to learn how to say things without a charge. We have to learn how to release the charge, and we do that by the tool of forgiveness. There's this great quote, I heard Jack Kornfield say it. He said, you're perfect, and there's room for improvement. Right? So everybody raise their hands like this, please. Raise your hands. On the count of 3, I'd like you to clap last Thursday. 1, 2, clap last Thursday.
What past?
Clap 5 years ago.
Oh.
You can't change the past. What good does it do complaining about it? You cannot change the past. Why are you complaining about it?
Feels good.
Right, but as all the people in the back of the room know, and I'll tell you in a second, when you do these woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't, and you suck people into your grievance stories, you're, as I said before, creating this paradigm. And Eckhart Tolle has this wonderful definition of insanity. He says you either accept your life or change it. Any other position is insane. You either accept your life or change it. Any other position is insane. If you complain about anything, you're insane, right? And again, the reason is this. You want to forgive. This is a new definition. You're not condoning someone else's behavior. You're releasing your right to resent that something happened. Forgiveness is releasing your right to resent that something happened. As I was saying, ressentiment. Re is sentiment. Re is again, sentiment is feeling. You're feeling things from shit that happened 30 years ago. So as I said, half the people in this new room know, there's what's happened in the past, and then there's your story about it. And your story, if I say, I was killed in a car accident, or whatever, there's a resentment there. I shouldn't have been killed in a car accident, right? And as we know, we're hooked into this, we're invested in these grievance stories. Anytime you hear those words, should or should not, there's a grievance story, there's a resentment. And we have to, if you go through any programs, you learn that you have to get rid of them. Because resentment is like poking yourself in the eye and waiting for the other person to go blind. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting to get sick. So the two, what? Other person, yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick. Again, but this is what your mind is built to do. Your mind is built to create woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn't, right? Because there's 3 file cabinets in your mind, the past, the present, and future. And you keep filing shit from the past into the future. So we all have to learn how to be more present-oriented. Okay, I love these quotes from Hamlet. There's nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. I went to Seattle in 2009 to sit with His Holiness Dalai Lama, and this is a common story, but someone asked him during the Q&A, they said, who's your greatest teacher? And he said, the Chinese, who bludgeoned 2 million of his people to death with axe handles. That's his greatest teacher. There's nothing good or bad, but thinking. It's like me saying, who's your greatest teacher? Hitler, right? So things happen in our past, and like you get divorced, and there's some kind of trauma, and it's terrible in the moment. And then later in life, you might think, that trauma was my greatest teacher. There's nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Nietzsche says it more philosophically, there is no such thing as a moral phenomenon. There are only moral interpretation of phenomena. But of course, Miles Davis said it best. It is what it is. So forgiveness is the ability to accept a no. Forgiveness is the ability to accept this did happen. There was a car accident. My parents got divorced. You know. And you release that thing in your mind, this should not have happened. Right? The mind is built to create woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn'ts. And what you have to do is release that. Okay, Lily Tomlin said it best. Forgiveness means giving up all hope of having a better past. Forgiveness means giving up all hope of having a better past. So when you're not willing to forgive, that means you're not done suffering. Unforgiveness is your desire to share your suffering. Bumper sticker. Pain is unavoidable. Suffering is optional. Pain is unavoidable. Suffering is optional. Pain does not cause suffering. It's our intolerance of pain that causes suffering. So we're horrible in our culture about grief. There's this thing in the DSM where if someone comes in and they say, oh, my child was killed, I don't want to go to work for some time, I have to grieve. Like in the last DSM, they're like, there used to be a 2-week exemption where you would say, that's terrible, take 2 weeks of work off to grieve, And now they've eliminated that exemption and they give you medication. And it says in the DSM, the same medications that work on depression work on grief. So what is the barometer of our DSM, which is the manual for mental health? What is it? Well, how do you know someone's mentally well in our culture? Because they work, they earn money. That's sick, right? Can you work? All the things are, can this person sit behind their lathe, sit behind their steering wheel? It's gross, right? We have this whole culture, even the pharmaceuticals, they're just there to get you pumped up so you can sit in front of your computer or whatever, cash register or something. But, as I said when we opened, the ground beneath our feet is moving, and in our lifetimes, the stock market could implode, go to zero, the dollar, all the things that we believe in are shifting. So how do we create meaning when that is going on, So the Buddha taught this thing called skillful means. And so I'm having you recognize some of these unskillful solutions, and then when you want vengeance or when you want bad things, you say, it stops with me. I'm going to break this chain of unskillful solutions. Whether it's binge drinking, that's a solution to a problem. It's not a skillful solution, right? Okay, so just think for 1 second, who do you need to forgive today in order to be free and show up authentically? Again, if you watch the Academy Awards for when Ben Affleck won for Argo, it's so beautiful. He's like, he comes back to the mic. He's like, and don't hold grudges. It's really lovely, right? But it's like, it says it all. Because again, your mind was built to create woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn'ts. Fantastic. Those things keep you safe. But they also, are these resentments. So do you have any grudges or woulda, coulda, shoulda, didn'ts that you would like to leave in this room? And you can pick them up in a couple of years, see what it's like to live without hate and spite and malice.